Okay, here we are back again with more Dragon Age Inquisition. Sorry about the few days I took off there. I just got pretty busy with some family stuff going on, and then I just needed to recharge and spend a couple of days not worrying about the YouTube channel thing. But I'm back now, and I think we are ready to start Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts in this episode. Yeah, I don't know that there's much else to say. First, we're gonna do the usual war table missions. Take care of those before we get started. And then we're gonna go to a party. See if I can even remember what operations I had going. Reports of Darkspawn activity. Commander, we conducted sweeps of the Storm Coast and determined where the Darkspawn are most concentrated. Our Ferelden-born soldiers are quite eager to see them driven back. Okay. Judgment, the good works of Saruth. Saruth took our rebuke to heart and has not pursued her self-destructive plan. It remains to be seen whether she can find a true peace with herself, but at the least she will not be dying in our name. Okay, cool. Got a lot of influence from that, and a schematic, which is nice. Oh yes, contact hero Ferelden. Sister Liliana, the hero of Ferelden, made contact. She left a letter to deliver to the Inquisitor, as well as goods from her travels that might be of use. We have included them in this missive. Yours in service, Sister Regine. And another schematic. That's cool. And I will read the letter, actually, momentarily, probably. Let's see about this offer from the Crows. A letter delivered to Skyhold.
I have not asked in a while.
Oh.
How goes the hunt for Samson?
We're close. I know it.
If I can help you any further.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Aw, it's so nice that they get along and they're helping each other. Good job, guys. You guys are great working together. Anyway, a letter delivered to Skyhold. Its sender claims to be a member of the Antivan Crows, an infamous guild of assassins. We encountered your agents in Hercynia. It seems the Inquisition and the Crows share a target. Our employer bears no love for Lord Enzo due to, well, let's just say it's a personal matter. Of course, I imagine your motivations have more to do with the man's Tevinter friends. You know the Venatori, we know Enzo. Why compete for the man? Lend us your knowledge and the job will be done far more quickly. You eliminate an enemy, our employer removes a political rival, and we get paid. A happy ending for all involved. Gita. Josephine says the Crows are an unfortunate reality of Antivan politics. They will pursue the contract regardless. We may as well know where they are. So Josephine would basically say, yeah, let's do it. Liliana says, cooperating with the Antivan Crows works to our advantage. They have more knowledge of Enzo, and we gain contacts should we need their assistance in the future. Cullen says, do we really want to get tangled up with the Crows? Our people can handle this. I mean, that's a fair point. Do we want to get involved? On the other hand, as Josephine points out, they are an unfortunate reality of Antivan politics. If we want to make friends in Antiva, we probably have to make some friends within the Crows, because the Crows basically are very powerful in Antiva. They essentially run the country almost. Liliana, being our spy master and a former assassin of sorts herself, is probably the best person for this job, so.
Inquisitor.
Let's see what we got. An offer of help on their terms. This is, I believe, has to do with those dwarves we helped rescue from the Venatori, or were trying to help. A letter on dark vellum with obviously dwarven markings. A hole in the surfacer's precious sky, not our concern. But the thing that did it? If this Magister shit really brought the Blight and the Darkspawn, we're no friend of that. Follow these instructions, and you'll catch your enemy sleeping. Tell your soldiers not to leave the main tunnel. That's your only warning. Binthus Warham Kalsharok. The letter ends with a map to a cave system and the number of troops that can pass. Josephine says potential relations with another dwarven tide could be far more beneficial than a minor strike at the Venatori. At the least, send ambassadors with our soldiers. Liana says they hold their secrets dear, do as they say, no more, no less. Cullen says they can have their secrecy, but we don't know the threat on the other side of their passage. I'd send double that to even a threat of Venatori. Nah, I think I'm gonna let Liliana take care of that just to be safe. So I'll leave it until she's available again. Let's look at Hard and Hightown, Trouble in Skyhold. Copies of Hard and Hightown and Hard and Hightown 3, The Repunchening, sit side by side on the table along with a note. Nightingale. Found several similarities to events in Varric's book, but all are slightly off. Dead magistrate was not in his home. Man found murdered in locked room was a compt, not magistrate. Executors did not send warning note directly to Donnan. Obviously, object of plot is Sword of Hissarion, not a Penny Dreadful author. Close look at the rip-off book shows numerous grammatical and spelling errors that seemed random at first, but ciphers believe might contain coded information. Killer and author are clearly linked. Either the murder investigation or the code might lead us to a target. Scrivener. Liliana says someone got in and out of Skyhold without being seen. The cipher in the book might lead us to them. Cullen says we should follow up on the murder investigation. The book is just a work of fiction. Oh man, there's so much stuff that I want Liliana to do. I like the more subtle approach that she takes with this, but we'll just give it to Cullen just to
All right.
give him something to do. And I'm gonna unlock Emprise du Lion really quick, just so that I can get the resource gathering. Yeah. And then Josephine can take that.
Let us begin.
Okay. The next thing I want to do is read the letter from the hero of Ferelden, because that's the thing that I want to do. And I believe... Sorry, I have a frog in my throat tonight. Yes, it's in the Codex. Here it is. To her worship, Inquisitor Trevelyan. I wish that I had helpful information regarding Corypheus, but due to my own limited training during the Blight, I know less of ancient Darkspawn lore than do most wardens. I am engaged in a search of my own. All Grey Wardens who do not fall in battle eventually fall to something known as the Calling, a magic that preys upon our own connection to the Blight and the Darkspawn. Rather than such foul magic eventually leading to my death, I have determined to find a way to negate this calling and save all Wardens from its effects. As I have little useful information to offer, please accept the accompanying gifts instead. If, in my quest, I find anything that may be of use to you in your fight against Corypheus, I will send it to you immediately. Yours, Warden Commander Mel Ferelden. Well, that's nice. But I like that she's trying to find a cure for the calling, basically. That's fun. But regardless, I think it is in fact time to go to a party. No matter how little Nadia might appreciate that necessity, it is time. So, an assassin is stalking the Empress. Celine's death would plunge
The city has
Orlais...
agreed to send us 6 guardsmen.
Not raw recruits. With luck, they'll know which end to grip a sword by.
Ah, Cullen, you like training the raw recruits. Don't be ridiculous. Anyway... An assassin is stalking the Empress. Celine's death would plunge Orlais into chaos, leaving it an easy target for Corypheus. At the Winter Palace of Halamshiral, Celine is holding peace talks with her rebellious cousin Grand Duke Gaspard under the guise of a grand ball. Every noble in the Empire will attend, making it the perfect place and time for Corypheus' assassin to strike. We can arrange an invitation to attend to keep him from destroying Orlais, if we hurry. Well, we haven't really hurried, but I think we can still manage this.
We have to reach the Empress before Corypheus. The only question is, how?
We know how. I have our way in. The real question is, where is our enemy hiding? At the urging of Grand Duchess Florian, the Empress is holding a ball. Absolutely everyone will be there. During the festivities, Celine will be meeting for peace talks with the usurper Duke Gaspard and Ambassador Briala.
The assassin must be hiding within one of these factions.
Indeed. So, let's talk about Celine first.
Tell me everything we know about the Empress.
Empress Celine is a renowned diplomat and reformer. She works tirelessly to secure peace for the Empire. Unfortunately, many Orlesians view peace as complacency. She has yet to name an heir, leaving the future of the Empire in doubt if anything happens to her. Especially when the next in line is her cousin Gaspard, who's made few friends on the Council of Heralds.
Celine is surrounded at all times by countless guards, courtiers, servants, and vassals. What better place for an assassin to hide than the Empress's own household?
Possible. So this Gaspard who's been fighting with her is actually her heir right now?
How can Gaspard still be next in line while he wages war against his Empress?
The title Grand Duke indicates that he was a prince before the Empress took the throne.
Okay, so what you're saying is he's of royal blood, and so no matter how treasonous he is, he's still considered in line for the throne. Okay, so let's talk about Gaspard.
What do we know about Duke Gaspard?
The man who would have been emperor. He's Celine's cousin, and was first in line to inherit the throne when Emperor Florian died. Celine outmaneuvered him. She won over the Council of Heralds, who hold authority over title disputes. She became empress, and he a general in the Imperial Army. He's well loved by the troops. He's also a chevalier. Most of their number sided with him when he turned on the Empress.
So he has the chevaliers, huh?
Aren't the Chevaliers part of the army? Why would they follow the Duke?
Most chevaliers are sworn to serve the crown, but that does not give them faith in the person wearing it. The Empress has tried to improve relations with Ferelden and Navarra. The Chevaliers see her as anti-military.
Well,
They believe Gaspard could lead the Empire back to the glory of Draken's expansion years.
well, that doesn't sound like such a good idea if I'm being totally honest here. So let's talk about this Briala person.
Who is this Ambassador Briala?
An ambassador in name only, she has organized the elves of Halamshiral into an underground army. The Empress invited her to the peace talks in a bid to gain the elves' alliance in the war. That would be scandal enough, without the rumor that Briala is a jilted lover of Celine's. A personal grudge and a network of saboteurs at her command. Promising lead.
So, an elven lover, huh?
Wait, the elven leader is a jilted lover of the Empress.
It's not widely known. Just a rumor whispered among the palace servants a few years ago. If it's true and were to get out, the Empress and an elf. The scandal could destroy Celine's court. Even if a lie, Briala could use it to blackmail the Empress. She has some connection to the throne.
Okay. So why not just send a warning? Why do we have to go ourselves?
Do we need to go to the peace talks? The Empress must have personal guards. We could just warn her she's in danger.
We've made the attempt, but...
It seems that our messages never reached her. Someone intercepted them.
It's better that we don't leave this to chance. If Orlais falls to Corypheus, no land is safe.
Okay, then I guess we're going to a
We
party.
shouldn't waste any time. Let's go to the Winter Palace.
What am I going to wear? That's a good question. So yeah, I think I'm level 16 now, so I'm fine for this. Not that it really matters, because everything is going to be my level anyway. Once again, I've thought long and hard about what party I'm going to bring for this particular chunk of the game. And first and foremost, I want to bring a different party from that which I brought to Here Lies the Abyss. As I recall, I brought Cole, I brought Solus, and I brought Blackwall to Here Lies the Abyss. So I'm not bringing any of those three. But I think for the purposes of this playthrough, I'm going to bring Varric, I'm going to bring Cassandra, and I'm going to bring Vivienne. Surprisingly enough, Vivienne is not as useful as one might assume she would be in this situation. But because for story purposes, it she does make a lot of sense to bring along to this party. I am going to bring her along. And again, much like with Here Lies the Abyss, like honestly, everybody's a good choice to bring with you on this mission. It's an interesting one. It's very different from most of the other missions that you would expect in a Dragon Age game. It's very interesting. It's different, and they clearly tried something new with it. In some cases, I wish they'd gone a little further with it, and in this case specifically, I do wish that, in my opinion, Vivienne is a criminally underused character in this game. And this is one of the biggest oversights of the entire game, in my opinion, is that she's not, I understand not wanting to make her, so useful that she becomes important to the exclusion of all other party members when doing this mission. But on the other hand, it's just such a wasted opportunity for some interesting character development for Vivienne to not have her be all that significant in this part of the game. So I think there could have been a better middle ground that they could have found for Vivienne in this section. But that said, I am going to bring her along in this playthrough. I think this is a good party to bring for this particular section of the game. So we're gonna go ahead and do this.
The political situation in Halamshiral hangs by a thread. The Empress fears our presence could sever it. The Grand Duke is only too happy to have us at the ball as his guests, so our invitation comes from him. Whether we act as his allies or upset the balance of power, he gains an opportunity, if not a clear advantage.
All right, so ostensibly we're here as guests of Grand Duke Gaspard, which is hilarious.
Inquisitor Trevelyan, it is an honor to meet you at last.
Sure.
The rumors coming out of the Western Approach say you battled an army of demons.
Something like that.
Imagine what the Inquisition could accomplish with the full support of the rightful Emperor of Orlais.
And which emperor is that?
And which one was the rightful one again? I keep getting them confused.
The handsome, charming one, of course, my lady.
Of course. Very nice.
I am not a man who forgets his friends, Inquisitor. You help me, I'll help you. My lady,
Okay.
are you prepared to shock the court by walking into the Grand Ball with a hateful usurper? They will be telling stories of this into the next age.
Aren't we exciting people?
I can't imagine that crowd has seen anything better than us in their entire lives.
You're a woman after my own heart, my lady. As a friend, perhaps there is a matter you could undertake this evening. This elven woman, Briala, I suspect that she intends to disrupt the negotiations.
Oh, yeah?
My people have found these ambassadors all over the fortifications. Sabotage seems the least of their crimes.
Well, I hope there's more to go on than
Tell me there's
elves.
more to your suspicion than the elves were acting dodgy.
That ambassador, Briala, used to be a servant of Celine's. That is, until my cousin had her arrested for crimes against the Empire to cover up a political mistake. If anyone in this room wishes Celine harm, Inquisitor, it's that elf. She certainly has reason. Be as discreet as possible. I detest the game, But if we do not play it well, our enemies will make us look like villains.
We and us
We're
already,
keeping
huh?
the court waiting, Inquisitor. Shall we?
I like how quickly he turns everything into we and us.
Is that the Inquisitor?
The mage? No, there must be some mistake.
From the Circle of Ostwick, so they say.
Right. So, with few exceptions, nobles and mages don't mix. The court eyes you with suspicion. Right. So, as we've just noticed, I do have what's called court approval, which is basically a way of scoring how well I'm playing the grand game. And yes, you do start with a somewhat of a loss of court approval if you are a mage, automatically. You also lose pretty significant court approval if you are an elf or a dwarf, and you lose a lot of court approval if you are a Kunari Inquisitor. Another, I think, potentially extremely missed opportunity with this is the potential to have you lose court approval if you are a male Inquisitor. As far as I know, you don't there's no difference between a male and female Inquisitor in terms of your approval, in terms of what approval you start with. But honestly, it would make perfect sense in this situation to have slightly less court approval as a man than as a woman, simply because, the cultural and doctrinal bent of the Orlesian chantry is such that men in positions of religious authority is strongly looked down upon. So the Herald of Andraste being a man, I would think would possibly be almost as scandalous as, a mage being the Herald of Andraste. But again, another, I think, missed opportunity in this section of the game to sort of have that gender thing going, but in a slightly different way than a lot of video games would do it, But anyway, so yeah, here we are. This is the courtyard outside the ball. I'm not going in quite yet. But yeah, so basically, you want to, theoretically, you want to keep your court approval up high. If it does, for whatever reason, drop down to 0, you do get a sort of non-traditional game over. So yeah, you do get a game over if your court approval drops to 0. I have never had it happen to me. I just know that it is possible to happen. I've honestly never had an issue with court approval. It will periodically drop if you go to places where you're not supposed to be and you're away from the party for too long. So you do have somewhat of a time constraint if you're away from the party for too long, poking around where you shouldn't be. But it's not difficult, in my experience, to get it to 100 and to generally keep it pretty high. So it's not usually that big of a deal, at least for me. And I was able to get it to 100 on my first playthrough when I was playing as a Kunari, which is literally the hardest difficulty of Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts that you can do, is playing as a Kunari, as I was a Kunari mage Inquisitor. And so that's literally that's the hard mode of Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts, is to be a Kunari mage. And I managed to get it to 100 court approval. In general, the way to get more court approval is to be charming and coy and not really give anything away. So don't be too honest, don't be too blunt, and don't be too trusting either, right? So don't trust anybody, and don't just say what you think. Be coy about it. So, like, in general, you want to take this sort of middle dialogue option that's sort of coy and evasive. Anyway, I've got a lady over here. Hi.
I should look.
What's up?
Pardon me, my lady. Have you seen a ring anywhere?
I have not.
It was a gift from the Countess Montbelliard, enchanted by the Fomari. I cannot go into the ball without it.
Is it valuable?
Is this ring particularly valuable?
Its worth in coin is not as important as its social value. It was a gift from a member of the Council of Heralds. If she finds out I lost it, she will never forgive me. Not even if I live to be 1,000 years old.
Interesting stratagem.
What's your game? Are you trying to convince the Countess that you treasure her gift? Or just to gain importance by getting the Inquisitor to run a menial errand for you?
Right. So yeah, you just gain court approval, which is usually the result of finesse, entertaining people, or keeping up appearances. The higher court approval is, the better.
I assure you, the ring truly is lost, and I must find it or risk terrible repercussions. Should you happen upon it, I beg you, let me know.
Okay. I will find the ring. Here it is. So I could keep it if I wanted to, and just sell it for money, but like I don't know why I would do that. At this point, the court approval thing and the social currency is much more significant to me than actual money.
Maker, what am I going to do if I cannot find my ring?
I found it.
Is this the ring you were looking for?
You are a treasure. I cannot believe you found it. You have saved me a lifetime of mortification. How can I thank you enough?
I don't know. You know.
Is that the Inquisitor?
A martyr? The Maker has an odd sense of humor.
See what I mean? Like, they're even commenting on the fact that I'm from the Free Marches, and yet nobody seems to care about the gender. And it's like, if you're a man, they should totally be caring about the fact that the Herald of Andraste is a man. like that's the kind of prejudice that they supposedly have.
Renduke invited the Inquisition here.
He did. Kind of funny, isn't it? I love overhearing all of the little bits of gossip.
Is it true the Inquisitor was handed out of the Fade by Andraste?
Possibly.
Do you mind? We don't wish to be disturbed.
Okay, so now I get to eavesdrop. So we're going to be doing a lot of eavesdropping in this party, too. Because, you know, it's what you do at a party is you eavesdrop on people for all the juiciest gossip, right? So here's a good spot.
Any word from the front lines?
My spies said the bodies were beyond counting.
Surely the Empress will put an end to the war tonight.
Pray, my friend. If the Maker does not hear us now, just pray.
Alright, so we did that. That's cool. Storage key. Alright, cool. I'll take it. Key to unlock the door below me, I believe. So this whole section outside the ball is sort of like a mini tutorial of some of the things that you're going to be doing inside the ball itself. Just to show you what we've got. Scandalous testimony. Alright, cool. Scandalous secrets are always good to have. And a Caprice coin. Alright. It's good to know. Let's check out the other side.
Lady Nightingale makes me nervous.
I mean, frankly, she makes me nervous too, so yeah. Alright, so we need...
It's been too long since I've had any word from Valois.
So here's the Hala statuette. I'm actually not gonna use this to unlock the door below me. That's theoretically what it's for, is to unlock the door below me. But the only thing that's in there is some as I recall, it's just some random loot that's not really particularly useful. And as you might have noticed in the pop-up, there's only 10 hollow statuettes to be found, and there are way more doors than there are hollow statuettes to open them. And this is another, I think, sort of problem that I have with this part of the game. It's not simply that there are more doors than there are hollow statuettes to open them, which kind of bothers me. It does. But I think what bothers me more is that there's not really any indication within the game that this is the case. The game doesn't actually tell you this. I didn't really figure this out until at least, like, my second or third playthrough, when I was like, wait a second, I can't get all these doors open even after finding all 10 hollow statuettes. And it was only then that I sort of figured it out. If you're doing this for the first time, you're opening all these doors with these hollow statuettes without even realizing that you're not going to be able to open all of them, and that you're going to have to pick and choose which doors to open. And I wish the game was better at conveying that fact to you as you're playing. I think that was kind of an oversight on their part. If they're not going to give you enough hollow statuettes to open all the doors, they need to let you know that somehow before you potentially waste some hollow statuettes on something that you don't necessarily need. As far as I know, there's nothing in that room that I necessarily need, whether for the main quest or the side quest. I think it's just a bunch of loot. So I'm going to skip it this time and save that first hollow statuette to hopefully help open something else later. So I think that's it for out here. So let's hop inside the party and get this thing going.
Inquisitor, a moment, if you please.
Uh-huh.
I must warn you before you go inside. How you speak to the court is a matter of life and death.
Of course.
It is no simple matter of etiquette and protocol. Every word, every gesture is measured and evaluated for weakness.
Yeah, they sound like a fun bunch.
Don't they sound delightful? I'm shocked we haven't invited the court to dinner at Skyhold.
The game is like Wicked Grace played to the death. You must never reveal your cards. When you meet the Empress, the eyes of the entire court will be upon you. You are safer in the Fade with the Fear Demon.
Well, that's, yeah, a cheery thought.
You're just full of joy and light this evening.
Everything will be fine.
We'll be fine, Josie. Don't worry. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. She's so worried. Wow, that was like the longest loading screen ever. Anyway, so now we're inside. Ooh, inside. I don't think there's necessarily anything in here. No. So now it's like we're inside the palace, but this is like the antechamber.
Coming from the Grand Cathedral.
Good news is becoming an increasingly rare commodity.
Indeed. Hey, here's Varric. He's hanging out with Cassandra and Cullen. Where's Vivienne, I wonder?
Shit. I just saw 2 dwarves from the Merchants Guild go inside. If anyone asks, I'm not here.
I need to have this jacket let out a little.
Are you putting on weight, honey bear? That's so sweet.
The sooner we go in, the sooner we can get this over with.
And here I would have thought that Cassandra...
Can Gaspar take the throne without the backing of the Council of Heralds?
He plans to take it by force. If the Council won't recognize him, he'll march against them.
Oh, that's very uncivilized, don't you think?
I had hoped to tour the Royal Wing Gardens again.
I have heard they are the finest in the Empire. It's such a pity the wing is sealed.
Fascinating. Oh, can I eavesdrop? I guess I can.
Just gossip.
Well, I gave it a shot.
Why are there so many elves here?
The Empress invited them. Be polite.
Interesting.
Well, let's do it again.
Just gossip.
Aw, more just gossip, huh?
The guest wing is not open to the public at this time, Inquisitor.
Alright, fair enough. Oh, can I do it again? Maybe I'll hear something useful this time. Probably not.
Just gossip.
It was worth a shot.
I can hardly believe Gaspard and Celine are in the same room.
Grand Duchess Florian must have worked a miracle to get them here.
Who does Orzammar favor in the negotiations tonight?
King Aeducan has put considerable coin behind the Empress in hopes the trade in foodstuffs will resume quickly.
Interesting to know. That's possibly the most useful piece of information I've had so far. Winter Palace, the Grand Library of Halamshiral. The Winter Palace's collection of books is one of the world's largest. Only the Library of the University of Orlais and the Imperial Palace Library compare. Famed cabinet maker Gustave of Valfontaine designed and built the shelves, the finest examples of his marquetry technique still in existence. Excerpt from Architectural History of Orlais, Volume 1 by Elodie Frenot. Cool.
How long can Orzammar hold out with trade disrupted?
We have reserves of food supplies to last a few months, but the king wants trade resumed before panic starts.
Sounds like some bad stuff is going down in Orzammar. Royal Wing. I can get into none of these places right now. I think those are just sort of...
If nothing else, the Inquisition backing Gaspard would make Celine nervous. You know how pious she is.
Yeah, but also being here as Gaspard's guests does not make us allies. Anything else you got to say?
I need to have this jacket let out a little.
Shit. I just saw
think
two
these are just the
dwarves from the
same.
Merchants Guild go inside. If anyone asks, I'm not here.
This dress uniform is preposterous. Formal armor would have been better.
Cullen would probably agree with you on that one, Cassandra.
It wouldn't surprise me if he brought the Inquisitor here as a prank.
Most likely. Most likely. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it here, actually. We're inside the palace. Next time we'll go inside the ballroom and maybe meet Grand Empress Celine. So yeah. As always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later.